The Galactic Council had one law above all others: obey or be erased. Every species bowed. Every species except one. When Earth's ambassador stood before the council and refused to sign, the chamber went dead silent. They called it suicide. They called it arrogance. But Earth wasn't asking for permission. Humanity was done following rules written by people who never once fought to survive, and in 3 days, the galaxy would learn exactly why that mattered. Nobody saw it coming. The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had never heard the word no said quite like this before. Ambassador Elena Cross stood at the center podium, a single human surrounded by delegates from 41 species, all of them waiting for her to sign the Unified Compliance Codex a Euro, a 1,000-page rulebook that stripped every member world of the right to defend itself without council approval first. "It's simple," said Councillor Thren, a towering Vondari elder with skin like polished stone. "Any species that wishes to remain part of this compact agrees to submit military decisions to council vote. No exceptions, no unilateral action. This is how we keep the peace." "And if a member's under attack right now?" Elena asked. "While you're all still voting?" "Then they wait," Thren said flatly. "As every species has waited, as you will wait." Elena looked around the chamber. Delegates from the Threx Assembly, the Sarn Collective, the quiet, careful Doreth Euros, every one of them had signed. Every one of them had traded their right to act for a seat at this table. "Where I'm from," Elena said, "we don't wait around for a committee to vote on whether somebody's allowed to live." A ripple of murmurs spread through the chamber. "You would defy council law?" Thren asked, something between disbelief and amusement in his voice. "I'm not defying anything," Elena said. "I'm telling you Earth's not signing. We've got our own rules. Simple ones. Protect the innocent. Never negotiate with people who hurt them. And never, ever wait for permission to do what's right." The chamber erupted Euro delegates, shouting over each other, some calling it reckless, others calling it exactly the kind of arrogance they'd expected from a species that had only been part of the compact for 5 years. Thren leaned forward. "Without council protection, Ambassador, your people will be alone out there." Elena didn't flinch. "We've been alone before. Worked out fine." She turned and walked out of the chamber, boots echoing off marble floors built by species who'd forgotten what it felt like to fight for anything. Behind her, the council buzzed with outrage. They had no idea how fast they'd need Earth's rules. 3 days later, the Doreth homeworld called for help a Euros, and the council's precious vote wasn't going to save them in time. The distress call came in the middle of a council session, and it changed everything. Ships, a rogue faction calling themselves the Kalas Vanguard a Euro, had dropped into orbit over Doreth Prime, a quiet farming world that had never fired a weapon in its life. The Doreth delegate's voice cracked over the comm, static swallowing half his words. "They're bombing the coastal settlements. Civilians, not military. Please, we need immediata." The line cut out. Thren immediately called for a vote, as protocol demanded. 41 delegations. Each one required to weigh in before any council fleet could be authorized to move. Elena sat in the observation gallery, watching numbers crawl across the display as delegate after delegate cast votes, debated jurisdiction, argued about whether Doreth's farming contracts with the Sarn Collective complicated the legal grounds for intervention. "People are dying down there right now," Elena said, standing. "The process must be respected," Thren said, not even looking at her. 29 votes in favor. We need 32 for a majority deployment. You're gonna lose that world arguing about paperwork. This is how civilization functions, Ambassador. Elena had heard enough. She turned and left the gallery at a dead run. "Comm already up. Fleet Command, this is Ambassador Cross. Authorization Cross 10. Scramble the Intrepid and the Marshal, Doreth Prime. Now." "Ma'am, that's outside council jurisdiction," her aide said. "We don't have a majority vote Euros. We don't need one," Elena said. "Earth doesn't run on their rulebook anymore. Get those ships moving." Back in the chamber, the vote count crawled toward 30. 31. By the time it hit 32 Euros official, legal sanctioned 2 Earth warships were already 12 hours deep into Doreth space, running silent and fast, weapons hot, following a rulebook with exactly one line that mattered. "Protect the innocent first, explain it later." Thren finally noticed the empty seat where Earth's delegation used to sit. "Where is the human ambassador?" Nobody answered. She was already gone, already airborne, already doing exactly what she'd promised she would. The council had their vote. Earth had already saved the day. The Intrepid dropped out of warp above Doreth Prime to a sky lit up with fire. Captain Marcus Reyes didn't wait for sensors to finish their scan before giving the order. All hands, weapons hot. Get eyes on those raider ships and start clearing me a path to the surface. 6 Kalis Vanguard cruisers hung in orbit, raining fire down on settlements that had no way to fight back. Doreth Prime had no orbital defenses, no fleet, nothing but farmers and families running for shelter that wasn't going to hold. Captain, Council hasn't authorized Euros, a young lieutenant started. Council's still voting, Marcus said. We're not. The Intrepid and the Marshal tore into the raider formation like they'd been born for it, weaving between incoming fire, targeting the cruisers pounding the coastline first. Marcus didn't run textbook tactics. He ran the kind of aggressive, close-quarters combat that made sense back on Earth and made zero sense to raiders who'd never fought anyone willing to get in their face. They're not falling back like normal ships. One raider pilot radioed to his commander, panic creeping into his voice. They're coming straight at us! That was the thing about humans nobody in the galaxy quite understood yet. Earth's ships didn't fight to establish dominance or win some slow strategic game. They fought to end things fast. Because every second of hesitation was another second some kid on the ground was hiding under rubble, praying somebody showed up. Marcus put the Intrepid between a raider cruiser and a burning settlement, took the hit meant for the ground below, and didn't so much as flinch. Shields at 60%, his XO called out. Good enough, Marcus said. Keep pushing. Within 20 minutes, 3 raider cruisers were disabled, drifting and dark. The other 3 broke formation and fled, deciding real fast that farming worlds weren't worth whatever this was. On the ground, Doreth survivors watched Earth ships hovering protectively over their skyline of Euros, ships that had shown up with no vote, no permission, and no hesitation. Alina's comm buzzed as she monitored it all from Fleet Command. Marcus's voice came through, tired but steady. Doreth Prime secure. Casualties are low. We got there in time. Alina closed her eyes, relief washing over her. Good work, Captain, ma'am. Marcus added, the Council's probably going to have a lot to say about this. Alina smiled. Let 'em talk. The Council chamber had never been louder a Euros or quieter a Euros than the moment Ambassador Elena Cross walked back through those doors. Councillor Thren stood immediately. You deployed forces without authorization. You violated Council law. I saved a world your vote was going to lose, Elena said. Doreth still standing because Earth didn't wait around for paperwork. Murmurs rippled through the chamber, but this time, they didn't sound like outrage. They sounded like something closer to reconsideration. The Doreth delegate rose slowly from his seat, voice thick with emotion. My people are alive because of Earth's ships. Because of rules that put lives before procedure. He turned to face the rest of the Council. Maybe it's time more of us asked why our laws made us wait. Thren didn't have an answer for that. Alina stepped to the center of the chamber, the same spot she'd stood in 3 days earlier when she'd refused to sign their codex. I'm not here to tell anyone how to run their governments, but Earth's not signing your rulebook. We've got our own, and it worked exactly like it was supposed to. And if we ask you to reconsider, Thren said, quieter now. Then I'll tell you what I told you the first time, Elena said. We don't wait for permission to do what's right. Never have, never will. She turned to leave, but this time, no one shouted. No one called it arrogance. The chamber sat in silence, watching a species they'd underestimated walk out on their own terms of Euros again. Word of what happened at Doreth Prime spread across the compact within days. Not because Earth broadcast a victory lap, but because every species that heard it understood exactly what it meant. Humanity didn't need a law to tell them to save someone. They just did it. Within a month, 2 more member worlds quietly petitioned to amend the Compliance Codex, citing the Doreth precedent as reason enough. Thren never publicly admitted he was wrong. But the next time a distress call came through Council channels, nobody waited for his vote to reach 32. They just looked to Earth. Because in a galaxy built on rules, procedures, and permission slips, humanity had proven something no law could ever contain a Euros. Sometimes the only rule that matters is showing up when it counts. Earth didn't follow anyone's laws that day. Earth wrote its own, and the galaxy never forgot it.